Hello, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer channel. This is a Duck Bootcamp VOD review. I'm Rax, and I'm here with Fierrastar, one of our ducklings. Just so folks know, this is the weekly seed, the Duckling Weekly Seed in the community races. It is Fighter Week, so our first set of flags. If you haven't done this seed yet, you should probably save this video to watch after you have done it. Although if you're really excited, you can always watch it and then do a different seed, but you won't be able to do the seed unspoiled that's in that channel right now. With that out of the way, Fiera, how you doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Is there anything in particular you want us to look for while we're watching this run? Anything particular that you're happy about that you did, or that you're concerned, or just that you're not sure if it was the right play?
Well, so I know going through this, I feel like I got a fairly good time overall on it, but I know I still have some habits to curve with when to stop loot goblining on it. There's just that impulse, especially from playing the game itself, from as long as I have, it's just so strong to want to go ahead and loot everything, especially once you know the step routes for everything. So trying to get better at what the stopping point is. Where do you consider enough for loot and pickups other than incentives? And that's a big thing I'm working on recently.
Awesome. That's a great thing to work on. I I feel like I'm still working on that sometimes too, but the lower you can get that number, the better, as long as it doesn't stop you from winning the run. So we'll keep an eye out for that. It looks like you took Fighter None Red Black here. Uh, we have the where do we have the blursings? Uh, I think we can get them into the chat. But the fighter had resist poison, earth, death time status, which seems great. That's like half of a ribbon. You also had to take the fighter, so not really much of a choice there, I guess. Red mage had learn dark plus evade. That's a good one. Black mage had red mage armor, which is fine. White mage had heal magic. And I think you couldn't take a thief or black belt, so what they had didn't matter. This party makes sense to me. You could have gone rainbow, but having a 3-character party is good for getting experience funneled in. Any comments on why you picked these?
Yeah, so I've always been a fan of the classical, 4-set and especially the rainbows ever since I got into this, but especially going through the Duckling Bootcamp this time, I really wanted to try either 2 or 3-man parties just to get used to it, because I've always been a fan of absolutely overpowering things at the end. But really, to get the speed by the end, you need to not overpower. You need to have just enough power on it. So I'm trying to learn that a little bit better on there. The white mage is good, but especially with the odds of getting the spells that you need while they're in the red mage levels are feel like they're so high on it that for these speed and power sets, it just feels like it makes more sense to take a red instead of a white.
I'm inclined to agree here. I especially think that in this case, where the fighter is not going to die to instant death spells early, having life magic is a little less critical. Obviously, it would still be nice. Hopefully, you get on the red, but we'll find out. Let's jump into the run. And as we watch the very beginning here, just a reminder if folks are joining us, this is the actual Duckling Weekly Seed. So if you haven't seen it yet, you should not watch this. Ribbon in Ordeals. Okay, and +5 is nice too. Oh, you start Ice 3. And Temper. Pick those up right away. You don't need to come back. And yeah, Imp 2 is fine. I think picking that up is good.
Yeah,
And the
it was
armor.
also just it was only heal 2 is the other option, and heal and heal 3 both exist. I didn't want to have to come back for it.
And you decided to take these caps +6. I like that. A +6 anything is a reasonable amount of absorb. Obviously, it's not a ton. You can get that shield as well for 3 gold, and then equip before you save. Oh, you like to check the item. I will often save and then check the item on my way back, but I think it's fine. You might save like 6 steps if you exit next to the item shop and then come back in for the inn. So if you want to optimize like that, that's the thing to watch out for. But hard reset because you knew that you had at least that much. That's good. And this is the fun of these no thief parties. Oh no. Yeah, that'll happen.
Yep. Yeah, I seem to remember this seed, especially since the spiders appear all the way through Earth, that it gave some not fun times here and there.
Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, I like this. Choosing to actually throw a spell just to make sure you get through it. Especially with that dragon armor.
Yeah, and I had watched the exhibition seed. I forget who it was that did it, but they had made the point of, especially with no ninja on it, it just can make sense to throw out a sweeper just to increase your chances of running and get fewer chances of getting swept yourself on some of these fights. I think I do that quite a bit through this.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a really good strategy. That was Chanigan, I think, who ran that.
Yes, I believe you're right.
All right, we picked up the adamant and the ruby. So now you have 2 directions you could go. Oh, right, you have to revive. Those spiders, that's going to be a problem again, I bet.
Hmm.
Did you actually purchase those?
I believe so.
I guess we'll see in the inventory. It looked like it might not have gone through on the heal potions. I'm sure that that isn't actually an issue. Just curious what happened there. Uh, oh, that was too fast, which means you were menuing quickly, which is great. But I'll have to keep keeping an eye out for it. Wait, the creeps too? You probably didn't need to reset there just because the fighter actually ran. Although, honestly, that might be faster than reviving. I'm not sure. It's probably fine, at least. Take out the pirates.
I've never looked in depth at what things work and what don't in Provoca while the pirates are active, and I just didn't want to chance it.
Oh, that's super fair. I think the only thing that's not there is the hint giver, at least in Rando. I don't think there's anything else in vanilla, but I don't recall. Picking up cabins is great. You just didn't see a tent in either of these, and with all these things with cremate, you definitely want that. The useless hint. I think that life is castable. Oh, oh, this is a fun seed.
Yeah, this one was very heavily speed and power.
So now you pretty much only have one place to go. Because we have early progression, but not extended or anything else. So you can go turn in the adamant. Probably get you the ship. I guess it could get you the canoe, or it could like take you to Crystal.
I think this
Or
did get me the ship because I didn't remember where it would land, so I had to go up and check the dock to see if it was there, and it was at Elfland. I don't remember having it in the dwarf cave before, so hadn't had that muscle memory for it yet.
I think it's a little weird where it shows up. I think in Dwarf Cave it will show up in the Dwarf dock by default, but it can sometimes show up at Canaria if it doesn't think you can get to that dock.
We'll see.
Yeah, I know that if you have it in Ordeals, it will. Not Ordeals, I'm sorry. Northwest Castle, the other thing that looks the same. It'll show up at
Hmm.
Elfland, even though the Dwarf Dock might be closer, because you're not guaranteed to have a way to get over there.
Hmm.
And it is Canute. And you picked up the TNT from Bicky, I think. And that's the crown. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you definitely just keep going the way you're going. Makes sense. The step routing looks right. It is worth noting you might want to save before you even take that first step out, just in case you
Yeah,
hit an
that's
encounter
a
on that step.
habit I'm working on breaking.
I still do it all the time. Nuke makes Astos even more trivial. Getting up to level 8 already is not bad. That is the benefit of having the three-man party. Here you save there.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
and
this is
this you
when
go to look for the ship.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of those things you kind of just have to know. At, at least you right away you're like, okay, no, it's not here, and you reset. Uh, you could have considered. I'm not sure that. No, I guess if you're trying to be fast and you have nuke charges, going to Marsh on the way would be tempting. I think the spiders are what makes it scary.
Yep. I wanted to see if warp or exit were going to be available before I chanced rerunning with those spiders at all.
Yeah, if you had warp or exit already, I definitely would have done it, but it is risky. You have some hit points, but not a lot. If you had fire resistance on somebody, maybe. Oh, you get exit too? All right, well, now you should be fine. Thank you for the hint on the thing you already have. There is also a question of where you go from here, because if you go right into the river system, you can get the crescent item, and you can get the ice cave item, especially now that you have warp.
That was when
And
there was some talk in the seed about reordering spells, and I decided to give it a try. And that's right about
oh,
when we all figured out, like, oh no, that isn't actually on. So I was attempting to move spells, and it did not work.
makes sense. Buying one house, I think, is really good once you've bought the magic. Uh, Body armor makes sense.
Yeah, especially since the black can wear it.
Oh, right, the black mage has red armor.
Yep. That's why I doubled back after I thought about it for half a second.
Yeah, I think at this point I'd probably stop checking armor shops just because
I don't think I buy anymore.
yeah. Oh, and you knew the cost of those spells, so you knew how much money you wanted to save. I guess you checked the level 4 before doing this because you didn't have a lot of money. And you don't want to sell that dragon armor because you want to wear it.
Yep. Because that's the other half of the ribbon, essentially, for the fighter.
You do decide to do Marsh first. I don't mind this because you're probably not going to want to come back this way. Uh, it could go either way. With the ship, I might have been excited to get into the river system, but you can't go outside. You don't have the canal, so it's a little less exciting. And with exit, oh, you don't actually have the exit charge, but you should have 2 warps, so you should be fine. Just gotta avoid the spiders. Walking along the underside of the room is good. Here, technically, you want to walk in front of the door to save 1 spot. It's a good habit to get in. With 1 spider, you're probably okay, but that is a spot where you could have thrown a nice 2. You could walk in front of the door there, too. If you've seen them, there's really good maps on the wiki that will show you all of the little tiny, like, 1 square adjustments that make the encounter table better.
Yeah, it's all about building both the muscle memory and then making the OCD go, no, you don't have to follow the contours of the pillars.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I I have trained my brain to follow the contours of the rooms, and then it's happy, and that's the way that it should go. But I totally understand that. Healing up makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to use the Cure 4 charge, and then I realized, no, that shares a spot with Warp.
Ellison in chat makes a good point. This is a reasonable place to use a sweeper, while doing like the run nuke or something. I especially like it there because you're going to be warping out right after, so you don't have to worry about charges anymore. But you get the run, and you're good. Yeah, doing it here is good. And it is better to throw the sweeper with the red mage and run with the black mage, because the black mage is more likely to succeed.
Yeah, I think I solidified that more into muscle memory about halfway through.
I actually, when I ran this seed, I kept screwing that up. I took the same party, and I kept casting with the black mage instead of the red mage, and I was like, dang it.
Because the immediate thought is, well, there's more charges on the black mage.
Exactly.
This, I'll be honest, I flat forgot that the ship was there.
I was just gonna say it's not a lot faster to take the ship, but it is a little faster, especially if you end up wanting to leave directly out the canal.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, there's tents for sale. I don't know if you really need them at this point, but it's interesting that they're there. You're probably never casting white magic at level 6.
Now, I was checking on the off chance in case something was in a red mage slot later, but with that duck in, I knew I could safely ignore it. I think Red Wizard gets 2 of the slots?
It's either 1 or 2. You remember to exit out here. Excellent. Red Wizard gets a lot of level 6 white permissions, all but first. I don't promote Red Wizards a lot. That is good to know. I think, like you said, Fier, it's not going to matter here. But that is good information for us. Thank you, Felly.
All but first. Okay.
It's one of those charts that would be beneficial to memorize, but I think, like a lot of people, I've learned like levels 1, 2, 3, and kind of 4, and then I just don't worry about it.
Those Hydras were a pain.
Yeah, I like saving. Ideally, you know where you are in the table and you save right before an encounter, but if there's something really tough, saving after an encounter will at least guarantee that you have made progress. Coming to ice first makes sense. That's where the incentive is. And I think this is guaranteed to lead you out. No, because the canal and the ruby does give you access to Sarda. So theoretically, this could not help you, but you're over here. You have warp. Makes total sense to do it. The fighter ran. Nice. That's the kind of pack where Run Run Nuke might have been good. Just because there's so many of them. And when you're thinking about spell charges, actually, it's good. Oh, you fighting the sorcerer.
I was trying to get a feel for how good that axe was. I figured a
Oh,
single sorcerer would be a
would be
decent
fine.
test.
No,
They're not too
I like
chunky.
that. And they don't have vanilla touch attacks, so you can just do it. Uh, I feel like we were all a little bit winter tournament brained still, at least those of us who ran it. Yeah, Fellison in chat says once you've bought your initial tents, it's pretty reasonable to just avoid encounters entirely. Uh, I agree. That is certainly what I aim for. Uh, oh, I cast warp without checking this.
Yeah, I was watching, I think it was Theanar doing a commentary at one point, and they made a point of, you're here already. No reason not to check this trap tile most of the time. And then I check this one as well because it's just right there. It's almost free.
That's fair. I'm more likely to check them if I think I'm likely to actually do a grind. And you don't have a lot of items yet. If you were here and you had a full suite of items, but you were still low level, I could see it. Although, honestly, those experience just worked out pretty well, so uh, it may have actually worked out fine for you. Oh, and this is this tile, too. Yeah, I think usually you don't want to take much of a grind with a party like this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you are here. This is good XP. You know that you can cast one warp and one exit to get out with your incentive item. I think taking this a second time is totally reasonable. Do you then go for the six pack also?
Yeah, that's the loot goblin brain still in it. I'm here. It's right there. It's one more trap tile in case it's I.
See,
Yeah,
this is the risk.
It is the no place.
Luckily, you still. Oh, you don't have the exit. Oh. Oh, but you have the life spell. Okay. Uh, yeah, I think probably optimally, I would not go. Oh, the katana is just bad manners. Uh, Optimally, I would not go to any of those, but it did work out pretty well for you. You got up to level 15. You almost certainly don't need to take any grind at this point. You can just fight some things on the way through sea and sky and be where you need to be. That's so much HP on the fighter already. Uh, yeah, so I guess now you have a couple options. You could go to Volcano while you're here. You could go and turn in the ruby, see what you get from Sarda, or you could go to Ordeals.
Yep, I believe that Ordeals was the ribbon on
Oh,
that.
you know that Ordeals is the ribbon from the incentive. That's right.
Yep, yep. So I skip Ordeals entirely on that because I have the status part of the ribbon already done on the fighter. On it is the reasoning that I end up using.
I think with both the status part on the fighter and the dragon armor already in hand, it's justifiable to skip ordeals there. It's always
Hmm.
nice to have a ribbon. You do have warp, so it's not atrocious, but I do like skipping it. Uh, Given that, I think I might have just done Volcano while I was there. With two new casters and level 15, I think you would have been fine on carry. Uh, but it will also be fast when you get there with the airship. So
Yeah. Anytime that Volcano is not incentivized, it's my final dungeon on it, pretty much.
I think that's reasonable if there's any risk to it. I think here it was just so unrisky, and you had like you still care about the armory at this point, so you have the option of taking it. Oh, thanks for the information about the slot.
Actually, I didn't care about the armory at this point on there because the massa was going to be an incentive,
Oh, and you have armor.
and I
Yeah,
don't need
you
a
know
ribbon.
what? That's a good point. No, I think I like that.
Yep. And again, from that same earlier run, it was like the mages have all the armor that they're going to get unless I find a random ribbon somewhere. So I I felt like I was essentially done with extra chests, more or less. But I just couldn't turn the loot goblin off a little bit.
I think I would be, and I'm actually going to check the incentive page, which is a great thing to do. Uh,
Yeah, I leave that up while I'm running.
oh, there's the floater. But you have access to the quote power staff unquote, which means you have the ruse stick. If that weren't
Hmm.
incentivized, I would want to go for sort of high density boxes, looking for the ruse stick or the white shirt or defense. But with that, I think you're right. You don't even need that. And here you have the Masa, so you pick up the Exhale if you get it, but you might not even need to promote now. Not bad.
Yep. I believe we'll see, but I believe I end up promoting to make red a fast caster because it's in a locked slot until it promotes.
Oh, just in case you lose the Black Mage.
Because Topher. Topher doing Topher things.
Fast is at level 5 or 6?
5. 5.
5.
It was here in Melmond.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I'm just thinking about that choice, which I guess we'll see later. Having two fastcasters is great. Obviously, you only need one, but Kraken is Kraken. On the other hand, if you're really rushing, you can always go grab the spell and promote. You can just kind of do a loop from Topher. Uh, so you might be
But
able to just
since,
skip it.
yeah, but Lefane Superstore is on as well.
Oh, so
So
if you
if you,
find promotion early and it's on the way, yeah.
yep,
Yeah, and you have the bottle, so turning that in immediately makes sense. And you can go to Lefane right away, too. Oh, promo gives you life on the night. That's a very good point, Philly.
yep,
And now you know loot is behind the key lock, so you don't have to go back for it. You can just pick it up when you're done, or if you're over there.
yeah, that's my last thing I pick up. Since I know where it is, there's no reason to go back.
Checking the first encounter. I don't know if you need to do this just because you're already at like level 15 or 16.
Yeah, this is where it comes in. I'm still trying to learn what's enough for moving through.
Oh, don't want that. Yeah, I think I would have just passed on that. Uh,
Yeah,
the only reason I would go for something like that is if I started to have trouble in sea or sky. But it's not It will make you a little faster later, but it does actually take a non-trivial amount of time. I do like this fight though. If you didn't reset out of it, it is good XP and you can just use the spells. Uh, I think the encounters are slow enough to disqualify a desert grind for a fighter, at least. If you're doing a solo character and you didn't have a good tile, then maybe that would be reasonable. Is that a vanilla chime?
Yep.
That's funny. Uh, so one thing that I noticed, you went right to Lefane here, and I did this too when I played the seed, so this is not a knock at all. But if you were thinking about promoting, you know that this isn't going to get you into Sky by itself because it's only one check and you're missing both. It might actually make sense to go do Onrak first.
Yep. I was
Because,
thinking, and I still think in this, and let me know your thoughts on it. It's going to be a one hit in here and out anyway, and the item gives you an extra 10% experience. So if I'm going to get potentially some more experience out of C, it's a one stop and it provides a small boost to that anyway. And I was already here in this part of the world.
yeah, you do have to come back. I'm not actually sure on this one. Uh, like I said, I did go to Lefane, but I think if you're not promoting, it makes more sense to just do it now. But if you might take advantage of the Magic Superstore, where are you heading here? Oh, to turn in the crystal?
Yeah, I believe so. So I don't have anything to go in the Sea Shrine yet, I believe. Oh, no, I have the Oxy. What was I doing? I don't remember.
Well, you're giving yourself the cube option. Definitely don't need these boxes if we're looking out for loot goblining. And also cast exit or warp there. Uh, little things. Uh,
Yep.
heal potions? Oh, you only have
I think I was
like one
out of
house.
charges. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one house. I used it when I came out of I.
Oh, and you end up doing Sky first because you did that. That makes some sense. You want the one stake encounter before you go in. I don't think you need it, but it's not a lot of extra steps.
Also seeing where he was swinging.
Yeah, I think Fellison in chat talking about the fighter being the male. Oh, you don't need these boxes.
Yep.
And these take time. I guess the question on these things, the way that I try to think about it is if I'm going to open boxes, what am I looking for?
Mm-hmm.
And how much advantage is it going to give me? Uh, I think at this point, this experience isn't worth that much. Obviously, you'd be happy with a ribbon, an evasion item, power gauntlet. That's kind of it, though. Like you have a Masa +4, so even if it was like Vorpal +7, the Masa's just you don't need another sword. You don't have great body armor for the casters, but you probably don't need it.
Yep. Those were, I think, the biggest time sinks I did was here in Sky. Mirage and Sky.
Yeah. These are good experience encounters, so having to take a couple extra isn't the worst thing. That's some of the reason that people go for the greed checks on Sky 3, or at least it's some of the reason that I do. Uh, I think you're past needing to deal with the wizard staff there. Uh, yeah, in this space, I don't think you picked up anything exciting enough that you needed to go change equipment right here at all. You
Yeah.
did make it slightly better, but that menuing takes a lot of time. I think the Cerberus is not one of the particularly good XP encounters here, so just running makes sense. And you're what, level like 17, 18 now?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can just take incidental encounters with good XP and not have to think about it from here.
Because final
Cerberus,
swing is 24 for the Mantha
yes.
on the fighter.
Final swing is 24. And with fast, you don't need it, although it's certainly nice to have. Oh, I don't think these are efficient. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I guess there are 5 in that room, and you do have warp. But I'd still rather do the ones on Sky 3, I think.
I was looking for something. I don't remember what at this point.
You got to level 20, the experience from those, so I probably would have gone run nuke here, but I guess you probably do need 2 nukes actually. And if you're gonna throw 2 nukes, you might as well just get the XP out of it. That's one where if I had a thief, I wouldn't be thinking about fighting it. It's not bad XP. It's just that they hit hard and it can take a lot of time.
Yeah, I was worried about them actually killing me or killing some of the mages on the way out.
That is possible, and you don't have great absorb on the mages. You still got the wood armor, which was like +5 or +6, so it's not terrible. You would have gone double nuke too, yeah. I pick up the incentive. I don't think we saw what this was. Oh, the Roostic. Excellent. Yeah, and you could have waited to the next time you're in a menu to move that into place, but it is a critical piece, and you don't want to forget. So if you're worried you're going to forget, I don't mind just doing that right away. It's like equipping a ribbon. Like, yeah, maybe you don't need to right away, but it's much worse to go into the Tiamat fight and not have equipped it. Yeah, you gotta think an extra encounter or two because of taking these. Hot take: the Roostick belongs on the Lifecaster until Chaos. Personally, I feel like the Roost Stick belongs on whoever has your resistances, which often is your Lifecaster if you get to choose. Uh, that one I might have thrown a nuke or two on, actually, because I think those give really good XP. But running is also perfectly fine because you have enough levels at this point.
This is the fun part.
Do we get the Warmac?
I don't want to spoil it.
That isn't no. Excellent. Yeah, the strategy here is interesting, whether you go for the spells or whether you fast and temper. 700 damage, I like that. You have Cure 4. Okay, that going off first, you should be good here. Wow, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
All
Guess
right.
what though?
No. All right. All right. So
Was a spicy fourth floor.
this is great. And you now have all the levels you could possibly need. And now, I don't want to be too results oriented about this, but those 2 fights just made every random encounter you took and every extra tile that you took in ice a waste of time retroactively.
Yep.
You can't know that that's going to happen, but one of the reasons that I like to wait on those things when I can is because something like that can happen.
Yep.
But at the very least, you get to just storm through whatever else is left. Yeah, I don't think you even need to ruse here. Although that is swinging pretty significantly. So, on the other hand, if you had hit twice with the Masa, it might just be dead.
Yeah, I think I was feeling paranoid after the double Warmax. Like, what else is this going to do to me?
Well, and it's you really don't want to lose it, right? You just gained
Yeah.
like 7 levels in the end game. So it's not. It's a safe play, and being safe is sometimes very much the right thing to do. But you probably could have shaved, I don't know, like 15, 20 seconds. So you know where the loot is. All you need is the key. I think only needing one item for go mode, I would have gone to C first in the hope of skipping waterfall. And I would have reset out of this fight. This is miserable. uh, oh, you need the rod. Okay, yeah, you need 2 items. This is fine. Sorry. I forgot about Lich. And have you found the shop item? I don't remember there being a shop item.
Yes, it was the crystal.
Oh, it was the crystal. Right. Thank you. Ooh. Yeah. Earth Incentive is vanilla, so I might have to go there without Rod. That's true. It could be the Rod, or it could be like Urban to Rod or something.
Yep, and I have just trained myself at this point to not expect the rod there.
I think it's right to do this. You're already over here. You know that you have to go and kill Kraken. Uh, I might check inside Earth before coming all the way over here if you didn't have the Oxiel, but I wouldn't feel good about it.
I think I'm going to check all these. Yep.
I like the check. I don't like spending the time menuing for that because you already have poison resistance. Uh, Admittedly, these are greed checks, and you could have just completely ignored them, but they are. You're not going to get another encounter. It's like 4 steps on the encounter table, so you're very good there. You have to be there anyway. That's the kind of greed check I like, where you're spending very little extra time to get them. But with poison resistance built in, you're never going to use the Aegis Shield. It's got a couple more points of absorb, but that's not what you need at this point. Fill up on heal potions. Yeah, you probably won't use 31 houses, but it really just doesn't matter at this point.
It's more just it's only a few frames, and I don't want to have to come back.
No, I mean you just hit up a couple times, and if you hit it an extra time, there's no reason to move back. You just take them. Uh, and I do like leaving to use the house. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone for that hint. It's possible that it could have really helped you if you got the answer to like, oh, the key is in Cardia or the rod. is in
Yeah, I
Cardia.
was hoping it would tell me that the rod was in Earth so I could ignore mermaids, essentially, kind of thing on it. Essentially to let me ignore the right side check because I think I still had two things I didn't know, and one I wanted, and one I didn't. And I was hoping it would give me that, and it didn't.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's not that far to get it, because you still need the key and the rod. This is another reasonable greed check, in my opinion. Obviously, like skipping it is optimal, but it's a very small number of steps off your path. Well, now uh, the rod is either in Cardia, or actually the herb hasn't been turned in yet.
Cardia has the loot.
Oh, I thought the hint was that the loot was behind the key in Canaria Castle. I must misremember.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Corneria. I don't think I get Cardia. I don't. Was Cardia incentivized for this?
Cardia was incentivized. Cardia and Titan's Trove were the things outside of the beginner set, just to make
Okay.
room for the second sword and the rue stick. But it can be easy to forget.
Yeah, I don't remember going there, so I must have ignored that.
Yeah, I like nuking these. Uh, like trying to run is better. You don't need experience points. I would try to run from everything, but uh, it's going to be hard to run there. So just throwing the nuke is good. Yeah, that box is like one step. That one is like two steps. I don't think you need anything at this point, but not a big deal. I always get the box in this like upper room here that doesn't advance the encounter table. Uh, you don't need to, but it is zero encounter table steps off of what you're doing, so it's one of the freest greed checks.
I think I grabbed the 3, which I believe is only 2 encounter table steps.
It's
I just
not
skipped the one
many.
in the corner that's guarded. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice find. I don't even know if you need it, to be honest, but it's I would pick it up and wear it. Absolutely. Woobear makes a good point. It does add up if you're adding in all the chests overall. Uh,
Oh yeah. I mean, and I opened way too many chests by the end. Definitely. Ow.
mhm. All right, and healing up for Kraken 1. I think with your level 29 fighter with a Masa +4, you should be just fine here. Power Bonk. Just want to make sure you kill in one shot?
Yeah. That way on turn 2, everything's on.
Yeah. Hate getting the encounter right after that. But you get out. You have the key, so you can get the loot. All you need is the rod. So rod could be behind herb, and you can probably route through there on the way. Well, actually, it's not really on the way. But if it is the rod, that's a lot faster, so I think you go check it anyway. Yeah, you bought those 31 houses, so you don't have to do that. But the muscle
Yeah.
memory is very strong.
This is just on the way. Pick it up. Don't forget it later.
Yeah, you don't want to bonk. Uh, Bonking, actually, if folks haven't heard that bit of slang before, is when you don't have a required item and you walk somewhere expecting to go through it and then can't do so. So, like if you don't have the chime and try to enter Mirage, or if you don't have the loot and try to go through to the rest of Temple of Fiends. Face first into that door. I've done it. So, do you go ahead and promote, which you told us earlier. Uh, And that will give you, I guess, this will give you access to all the magic because at level 29 or 30, you're going to have even multiple level 8 slots. I don't think you need them for anything, though. You really only care about, nuke, life, cure 4, fast, temper. And you didn't check the cardias, so it's a good thing that presumably the rod was in Earth. Uh, because otherwise that could have been costly.
Yep. Otherwise, that would have been a very not fun bonk.
Oh, the dragon armor is actually a good reason to promote too, even if you don't go by the spells.
Just me trying to remember who can use what.
Yeah, I always think the red mage is going to be able to use things that the ninja gets, but actually you can't use most helmets. You can't use any shields, I think.
Yeah, besides the pro cape.
Red mage is always bait. Uh, I don't know if it's always bait, but this seed wouldn't have been too different with just fighter black. And the lack of exit and life would be the damage poison on wizards. Sure. Having to come to Earth last is great.
Yeah. I've joined the club of what WTF Earth.
The danger level of encounters in here compared to the experience level of encounters in here is just so rude. The fight run here,
And
that's
poison touch.
oh boy. Well, this isn't even a speed bump at this point. This is like a rumble strip or something. Yep. So you'll get through here. Lich shouldn't be any cause for concern. And then you just have to go through Volcano. And you can skip everything in Volcano, which is nice. Oh, that's an interesting way of thinking about it. Fellison in chat says Red Mage is second only to the Thief in terms of average utility per slot, but suffers from not guaranteeing anything. And that's a good point. The variability is really high. But the number of things you have access to is pretty good. Uh, Thank you, Red Mage, for confirming your lack of guarantees. Appreciate that a lot. The red mage is a gamble, and one of the things I find interesting is the sort of option of looking at the level 1 spells and then resetting and changing your mage configuration, which is more feasible in some flag sets than others. I am confident it is correct more than 0% of the time. I probably do it too often. I don't think the harm 4 here that you saw was worth switching to a white mage, for example. And so I think
Especially
what
with
you
level
did
2
is
nuke.
just fine. Yeah, but you don't know about it then.
Yeah. Though Ice 3 at level 1 is its own compelling argument as well.
Yeah. I don't know if I would switch mages for Ice 3 unless I somehow hadn't taken a black mage. For Schumann chat, the thing that I think I do too often is the rerolling. It makes me feel clever, and so I like it. But I think it is often just not necessary. Here you get to do all the fun routing. Oh, the upper path. I think that might have like one more lava square. But I would have to check the map. It might just be equivalent. Yeah, hugging the bottom wall is what I'm used to. I wonder if it's the same number of lava squares but more total steps? No, that can't be right. We have maps for this, so I'm not going to try to rederive it here, but you can also walk up onto the lava and then left and down. It is more total steps, but it's fewer encounter table steps. In this case, you're not really that worried about encounters, and you know that you're going to hit some here anyway. But something to keep in mind. You're not worried about hit points either. Oh, hey, Carrie lived through a hit. Good job, Carrie. Anyway. All right. So you are in go mode. You have every item. You're at like level 30. And you're going to pick up a couple spells. This is going to be life for the fighter.
Yep.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Carrie is terrifying in the red flag set, but in the beginner flag set and variations on it, if you're doing her last, I wouldn't be worried. The other thing you mentioned was getting the fast on the red wizard, but it looks like you didn't actually go for it.
Nope. I think I forgot about it.
Which I think is fine. You don't need it. You don't. Oh no. Uh, hello, fellow mid-topher enjoyer. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's so many weeks of both the async and the duckling ones were mid-topher that I was like, left. Wait, what?
We could have a map mod for long topher where you just put the block that teaches you to go the right way for mid topher. Oh no. Uh, you could have the block there so you can only go right as a reminder. That could actually be cute. Uh, Something I'm just realizing. I saw you reset after those cracks, and I was like, oh, but your fighter has life. But you were already like level 30, so you don't have any
No charges.
charges.
Yep. After I picked it up and then I used the house there, I went, I have no life charges. All right.
Yeah, I guess that's a good reason not to spend the time to buy the spell. Uh, but I've definitely made that mistake too. You get so excited that you get access to the spell, and you forget that you would have to go grind for it, and it's not worth it.
No, Shum. After I got the 4 Kraken gas dragons, I just went, well, let's just keep rolling the encounter table, see what happens. Gas dragons were just annoyingly prevalent on that floor. Yep.
Yeah, those got you in Waterfall too, right?
Yes. The enemies that ended up killing me the most are spiders and gas dragons. There's a dichotomy for you.
Yeah. Opposite ends of the difficulty curve in vanilla, pretty much. You are seeing what feels like a lot of encounters in here. Maybe it's just the way the encounter table is. What is it? It's actually, oh, it's 6 out of 256 in dungeons, which isn't that high, but after a lot of the flag sets that we've been doing lately, feels kind of high. If you're coming from vanilla, I guess you'd be thrilled. Gopher is a touch higher. I actually learned this today. I'd observed it before. Um, but yeah, you get extra encounters on Lich, Carry, Kraken, and Tia floors. And it's like more as you go down. I forget the exact number. It was posted somewhere on the Discord today, I think. But if you've ever, like me, gotten an encounter on Kraken or Tia floor and just been like, what? No, that's why. And Lich 2 down. There's your life slot, but unfortunately, this flag set doesn't give you the spell slots when you level up. The 20-step Tia floor giving you 5 encounters somehow. I usually haven't had it be that bad in Rando, but knowing that there's even more than normal does help explain why it felt like getting the Masamune was just the biggest slog. Extra long Topher increasing the encounter rates. That's just deep dungeon at that point.
Yeah, Phalesin, doing nukes over buffs on the first 2 refights. Lich is still speed bump at that point, and carry can be dangerous, but I didn't feel like taking the extra 1 to 2 turns was worth it.
I think especially at your level, but even at a lower level, that's what I would do there. You're not going to use the nuke charges for anything else. It's not like it's also your fast level, uh, or your temper level, and you can just get through them each in a turn. Wow, that's a high roll. Oh boy. I like that life cast actually, just because you really want one of your casters, and Kraken has more trouble killing them both. Yeah, that's worth a cure for to save the time. And off to Tia floor. The power bonk is interesting. I think I would probably just swing, but like I get it. I'm never rooting for someone to cast warp in battle by accident. It's that's it's a tragedy every time it happens. Oh, not in battle. Oh no. Oh, okay, that's even more of a tragedy, but also would be funnier. Uh, Everyone has to do it once. I haven't done it yet, so that's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to do it once now. Uh, oh no. Yeah, in this chaos fight, I feel like normally in a chaos fight we'd have a lot to talk about, but in practice, oh, the slow two's in there. That would have been fine because you have fast casts. Uh, but you are just powerful enough. This chaos cannot really touch you unless it has like nuclear swirl or something. 1523 and terminated down in 1 hour 2 minutes. Actually, 1 hour 1 minute and 50 seconds on your in-game timer. So probably we started this a little early. GG's. Uh, yeah, I think this is a pretty solid run. You picked up too many boxes, and there were a couple small mistakes, but fundamentally, you did what you needed to do. You took advantage of the things that were in front of you, and you got through it. Uh, as we've talked about it, and as we've had some great suggestions from chat as well, how are you feeling about it? Any particular thing that you want to take and do differently next time?
After thinking about it and like rewatching it, I'm I feel a lot of I was doing a lot of cringing watching myself open, especially a lot of the later chests and the ones in Mirage and Sky. It's like why? What was I looking for at that moment? What did I want out of those? What was I hunting for? So
Yeah,
that's something I'm going to be trying to tone down more with.
no, I agree with folks in chat. I think the looting is the thing, and then the encounter manipulation. Uh, Sometimes the encounter table is annoying enough that you just take one or two on the overworld, but ideally you shouldn't have to. And you definitely didn't have to take as many as you did. But the good news is those are actually pretty easy changes to make. The encounter table stuff is just practice, and the loot goblining is well, I mean, it's just willpower, which you know you'll get there though. I think the black belt lesson, which is coming up, should be a good lesson in not picking up boxes because there's almost nothing you can pick up that can actually do anything for you.
Yeah, that one's incentives and maybe a couple free greeds on it, but should be nothing else really. Depending on what
Oh,
the blur depends on what the blessings roll.
all right.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for the advice and the tips.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for putting yourself out there, being willing to come on and take a look at your run. I know that cringing feeling watching things back, but it really does help. Uh, any final thoughts?
Not from my end.
Awesome. Well, if you joined us or if you're watching this in the future, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. And to our veterans in the chat helping out, it's always exciting to get different perspectives, especially interesting seeing different people have different perspectives on some of the edge case things, like that power bunk usage. Really enlightening for me, and hopefully for all of our ducks as they work to get better and promote. We will be having a lot more Duckling Bootcamp events. The next one, I believe, is Sunday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's going to be the Black Belt week. And then we'll have a race on Monday, another lesson on Wednesday, another race on Thursday, and hopefully another VOD review on Friday. If you saw this and you're like, wow, I would love to get one of these for my play, you can ask in the in either the bootcamp VOD review channel or the other VOD review channel, really anywhere. A lot of us are happy to jump in and help out. Thanks again to Franklin for jumping in, running this restream. I know we had a little bit of setup issues, and you got through all of it, and you got us running. Thank you so much. And just for folks who might not be aware, there is going to be an in-person marathon benefiting the Liam Foundation in June. You don't have to come in person. There will be a bunch of things online as well, streamed. Obviously, we're streaming the whole thing. But if you want to come in person, it should be a great time. I know I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people in the community and helping out a great cause. So with that, I'm going to sign off here. Thank you so much, and I'm sure I'll see y'all soon. Take care.